Hello everyone, my name is Eva Belyaeva and Alexey Peshik is with me. We'll talk about the new concept of responding to incidents.
Hi, my name is
The concept of our new product is the following.
The concept of the new product is that
We
we are
approach
approaching incidents not only at the
when the
moment when they
incidents
happen.
happen and somehow they got to the response system. We deal with the incidents from the very beginning and when the incident happened and when it is dealt with. Let me tell you when the concept came up and who was the originator of the concept. See, when we were studying the market, there are many abbreviations, MS abbreviation SOAR and DEAR, and action and response, it's more like a concept, but the idea was there are different products and different modules that are brought together like a Frankenstein. And this sort of product, or transformer if you wish, then it turns into one platform with one single point of entry. Some of them call them DEAR, some of them is next generation SOAR, and many others. There are different producers of this, and you can see them in CrowdStructure and Revelstoke, and they have their own interpretation of this. They put it together in their own way. And Splunk, it's another example, where they have this next generation SOAR or DEARs. We thought that in our concept of the market, next generation SOAR, it's more natively, but it's not the DEAR really, because there's one single point of entry, there are different processes in it, and threat intelligence and behavior analysis, it has to do in some native integration. And also with additional visualizations with a single point of entry. In other words, we approached it from different parts, from different sides. We looked at the experience of our foreign colleagues. And in order to make our own solution, we needed to look at the process of incident processing from best practice. We took NIST and SANS, and here you can see how we adapted it for ourselves. And besides the investigation, we also included the processes that brought us there. This preparation, this is management of infrastructure to understand what we actually manage, where the incidents happen, and then post-incident processing, working with the infrastructure to bring it to a more secure state, to have less incidents, and not the incidents to be repeated. We need to understand what's different between NG SOAR and SOAR. In general, SOAR, the logic of it has to do with playbooks and how the playbooks are built in some sort of optimization of a certain level. In next generation SOAR, in our company, we have processes according to NIST and SANS. When we get some data from assets, and so we do infrastructure preparation, inventory, we collect events from different points, from different assets, and also we have engine that processes all this data. There is a playbook, automatic ones, that have their own logic, and they classify it according to incidents. And then, at that stage, we process the incident, we work with it, so that further down the road, the incident shouldn't appear again. So we do everything in our power to mitigate the incident. So what is our concept about? We decided to put together functionality of several modules. Some of them are must, and some of them are optional, depending on our client order, their wishes. So how mature they are, how well they understand it, in terms of how to work with the team, and how to process the data. The core of it consists of asset management, detecting incidents, responding to incidents, and interaction with the regulator. If we talk about the companies that are connected to financial sector, this is cooperation with Mr. Tom. And in SOAR, there is a great work done with additional enrichment. Now, this is a work of removing vulnerabilities, analyzing incidents, TI that is used as enrichment to give analytics of a third line, to give as much information as possible to investigate the incidents, and also agents that we use to collect events and respond to incidents. The main function for the response is in 4 points that are based on dynamics. That's a dynamic part that is adapted to the infrastructure of the customer, so we can work with the changing infrastructure, with different assets, different types of incidents, some new attributes. Also, we put in our object-oriented model with some response with the preliminary response, and then we automate our actions. Then all the chains that work on assets, we put them in the Intel chain. We have 14 tactics. These tactics are identified automatically, depending on the incidents that we receive. And again, I have to repeat that it's done automatically on our own knowledge base. So we build our recommendations, how to respond to a typical incident and how to work on your mistakes. Let's look at it in more detail. And let's start with dynamic playbooks. So what is it? As we know, when we set up SOAR and systems, we put there ready-to-go playbooks. And they usually connect to different types of incidents. We think about them in advance, depending on the infrastructure that the customer has in a certain time. And then those playbooks will be completed depending on what we have. Instead of using one playbook for each type of incident and not knowing when they should be updated, we provide a different concept, a dynamic playbook concept. Playbooks are done on the fly, so to speak, right at the point when the incident happens, not what the vendor brought initially to the customer. So we need to look at the sub-networks of the customer. We need to see what the attacking route is. And we also look at the attributes compound of the object. What are hosts, what are accounts, user accounts, and based on this, we make a decision what the incident is, how to do the automatic response, automatic prevention, and how to respond to the event. So in other words, we moved from abstract actions based on playbooks. We're object-oriented model. First, it was IBM with Resilient. So we decided to improve this model, and we have tools to respond based on what's happening. So we do all the actions according to what's really happening in real time. And all that is built on the automatic kill chain. And this kill chain is built in the real time. with map and objects. Here you can see an example of some of the attacks that we simulate in our infrastructure. About 7 tactics of attacks that have their own kill chain. And we try to give additional attributes to our analysts to enrich our tactics and techniques and tools that are used in these techniques. So that's why we have a full-scale database of attacks, and it's updated regularly. And all these sub-techniques that changeable, they will be popping up in the database, say like once in 6 months. So we have this in our system, and the analyst will get the information that they need. And plus, to that, there are certain stories when we can't cover with Mitra attacks. And if even there are some customers that don't use Mitra, but some other ones, so it's a customer way to do that. So if you need to have your own technique, depending on the software you have, so we give you this chance to make up your own technique and map it to your incident. You can add it, and based on these techniques, you can have recommendations, and you can use your own recommendations or recommendations that are in the system. And also, it's important to note the mechanism that kill chain is built on. So we do macro correlation on the incidents that came to us to understand from the whole pile of incidents what incidents are interconnected, despite the fact that some of them may not be related from the first sight, and identifying incidents and getting them from different systems or security systems. We add here a mechanism of additional inquiry of data, incidents that were not identified at the time of the attack. So we can send these inquiries to different ACM systems, to ours, or we can get the data from the end machine. So, and here on kill chain, you can see there are incidents that may not be in the list. So we get all the analytics, full of it, and to be able to properly respond to an incident. Back to Mitra. So we built a kill chain that is visualizing our chain. We can see it either in incident or in the attack that was made up as part of the macro correlation. Here we get additional information from recommendations. Then we provide additional expertise for these recommendations. Then we can either enrich those recommendations, or in past incident period, we can add additional attributes. In these recommendations, we provide our own expertise, and also your own security department can put their own recommendations. The system of these recommendations represents our own expertise, and the customer, our client, can keep their own expertise. Say they have their own security center where they have their own rules for a particular infrastructure and customers. So what is the use of uniting functionality of several modules into one? So in fact, it's not just two instruments that are put together. The idea is to build a process that will put together these solutions. And the first point is to optimize the resources. Besides finances and assets that you use for that, in my view, what's important, this is resources, time, and the speed of implementation. This is the team that will work with the system. And when we unite the whole thing in one process and we're not dividing it into smaller parts that are given to different departments, this united model increases efficiency of the model and work with the incidents. The same as we add processes
недостаточно выстроены на момент внедрения, мы также
where they not were added by the client to their list. We build our infrastructures and we exclude the issue of data skipping. When, say, sometimes people don't share information between the departments. So with this approach, this won't happen. It's one single system, people will be working with it, and they will have to protect the infrastructure together. Also, I'd like to add, there's a designer potential, and since the whole thing is built on one platform, you can build your own, so say, like desires, and your desires may be different from our box. So all the designer's potential, the idea is if you want to change something, so you can do that, because everything is built on one single platform, so all the modules are in a sort of product that gives you an opportunity to design playbooks on your own. You can change the view of it as you want. Sometimes clients say there are way too many values there, so we just want just 2 lines. So we do that, and it just works on its own. Also, there is also a very interesting structure. So we give an opportunity of a single window. So everything is integrated and is working through different integrations of AIP. But if you are not satisfied with a single window, you want to use your own CMs, you can use your own CM. We are here for processes, but not for like one single use of our platform only. We stand for the point that we need to adapt to what the customer has. Depending on how the customer will be changing over time, we'll have different branches and times. So we want the system to be scalable, and so that the system could support our customers to properly investigate incidents.